So what we're going to be doing now is Python for DSPy. And what that means is that it's the Python that I think you guys want to know in order to do things that are cool with DSPy. Now, most of the stuff that you guys want to do in DSPy, I've either done for you or will be doing for you soon. So I think this is just for fun until, GPT-5 comes out and beyond. We're in a certain period of time where this is beneficial, so we can get started there. First off, get PyCharm, learn PyCharm. Trust me, using VS Code is one of those non-starters. Like, I use Cursor, which is based on VS Code, to help me with AI generation. But in terms of like on a day-to-day basis, I can't use VS Code at all. So what we're going to start off with, though, is a cookie cutter by this crew called Radix AI, right? So cookie cutter is a lot like Yeoman or Rails. So this is where I got a lot of the ideas for DSPyGen from. So we're going to run this, and it's going to give us all of these benefits for free. So I already have the cookie cutter installed. We'll just do this. So we will go to, so in PyCharm, I can run my terminal. So we'll go to c ... So now we're in my dev folder. Everything's in my dev folder. Now, if you see this blue, I'm using the fish shell. And so this is the Python environment that we're in, right? I use something called PyEnv, which I highly recommend. It allows you to do like different versions of Python globally and stuff like that. We're just going to use this environment and we're going to change. So I know environments are like a very sticky thing and stuff like that, but I hope to make it easier. So we're just going to have in here the cruft. All right, we already have it all installed because I have a way to init projects in DSPyGen as well. Actually, I'll show that to you really quickly just so you guys get an idea that for almost all this stuff that I'm about to teach you, I'm teaching this to you so that you understand the choices that I made pretty much, but I've already made these choices for you if you want to just use what I did. So what we're going to be doing is something that I already have in this init project, right? I'm installing the packages, I'm getting the templates, I'm running the sub process with some configurations that I've already decided. You can pass some extra context in there. I set up your poetry environment and install DSPyGen and install the thing locally and all that kind of stuff. So actually, we'll just use that as a guide for what we're going to do. That way I don't forget some steps. All right, cool. So we have our environment. So we're not going to use the config. So what we need to do, actually, we'll go to the documentation. Cruft create cookie cutter, right? So we're going to create the environment. We're going to make a app, and we're going to call this Fun Py, and we're going to say Python fundamentals for DSPy. Okay, sure. We're just going to do this stuff. Okay, environment setup, simple. Conventional commits. 0 means no. That's correct. With fast API, yes. Typer CLI, yes. GitHub, sure. None. All right, cool. So let's do an ls. And we can see that we have FunPy. So we're going to cd into FunPy, and we're going to ls. So in it, we don't have, or we can do la. So now we can see which files are in here. So we got our cruft file, dev container, which is pretty cool, pre-commit, but you notice we don't have any Python specific stuff in here. So we'll look at what I did over in here as a guide. So we will created our project. That's what that was up there. So we're going to do poetry install. And we're not going to add DSPyGen. So you can see that it's adding all these updating these packages. Okay, so it's still in my DSPyGen environment, right? So we're going to create our own environment for this. So we do poetry, env use Python. Okay, cool. So we created an environment, right? FunPy. So we're going to want to keep track of what this URL is. So we're going to do, I have Mac Vim, and we're just going to keep that there for us. And it's going to come into play later. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go to PyCharm, and we're going to create a new project. And we have dev here, and we're going to just call it FunPy, right? And so now we have custom environment, right? So this is where it kind of gets difficult for most people. VNV is virtual environment. And so we're not going to use the we're not going to use Conda, custom environment, right? So virtual NV is going to be poetry, but actually it's select existing, right? So now if we look at our Python path, right, it won't show it to us because we'll click the folder. You can see DSPy gen 312 bin Python. So that's where this comes in. So we're going to go back to our FunPy, grab it. We're going to delete. Oh, actually, we'll just delete the whole thing. Paste our link. Paste our link. FunPy. So we're going to go into the bin folder, and then when you see how we have Python and it's like pretty much nothing else, that's because we haven't installed all of our stuff in there. We installed it in the other one. So now we create from existing sources. Okay, so now we have our FunPy. So we can look at the Python fundamentals. So this all came from the cookie cutter. So don't think that if you just open up a Python file and do all this stuff, it's going to be like this. You're going to want to use the cookie cutter because, like many things, a really cool group of people spent a lot of time making projects to get started, and this is how they decided it should be done. So that's kind of one of the things about programming, especially for you younger people, is you don't want to always figure out things yourself. Figure out how the best people are doing it. Then once you know that, maybe you decide to do it your own way, right? I don't do it my own way. I could very easily have my own cookie cutter. I've thought about it, I've worked on it, and then I came to the conclusion that, no, what these guys have is better. Now, one of the things that's cool about this README is in PyCharm, I can actually literally just run the package. Oops, actually, I think FunPy. So FunPy is a name that exists somewhere. So actually, that is a mistake. We should not use that name. So actually, that's a perfectly good example of what not to do. One of the things I always do before I pick name is I go to PyPI, because watch what happens if we do FunPy. So this is why I made a mistake, and it's good to see that I make mistakes. See how it installed 0.6? I actually picked something that already exists. So we'll call it DSPy Fun. Yeah, that looks good. So DSPy Fun. So we'll just have to go back and so you want to close this project because we don't want to delete it from PyCharm. We'll just go to iterm. I have everything in a dev folder. So this is my home for you Windows guys, present working directory, users, SIC dev. Now there is something called sigwin for Windows people if you want to use like Unix paths. Sigwin. I highly recommend this. This will allow you to access your Windows computer like a Linux computer. Now it's a learning curve, so there's something to that, but just so you guys know, have it for a reference. So do ls. So then we can do rm/rf. Now this means remove force. I'm like really making sure recursive force. I think that's what it is. But anyway, FunPy, right? There might be, PyCharm might complain, stuff like that. We'll beg for forgiveness, but we're starting over. All right, now we do ls, and it's gone, right? So now I'm pressing up. We're just going to walk back and go to the cruft create. Okay, so we're not, if you notice, in the blue of my thing, Python is not installed here. Because if we do Python, okay, it's 3.10. So actually, this is from the PyEnv. It's that we haven't installed cruft in our default Python. So, oh yeah, so this is the Python interpreter. So I can do like print hello world from here and do stuff like that. So just so you know, you can run Python that way. All right, so now we can go back up to here. Pip install craft, there we go. And it's okay that we're installing it in kind of our global Python because we're using PyEnv, so there's multiple globals anyway. So it's like, it's a thing within a thing. So map and a DSPy fun, DSPy fundament. Okay. Whatever. Oops. Yeah, no, it chose simple by default. Great. With fast API, with typer. Cool. All right. ls again. So now we can go into the DSPy fun, and we do the poetry install. Okay. So you see how it created the environment this time? Cool. So, but we'll just do we'll do the PyEnv use. Okay, not supported. Oh, okay, so we're not in the Python version. So PyEnv, right? We can say local, local, right? No local, so we can do PyEnv install 312. No, so PyEnv, I think it's use 312 local. Perfect. So now we can do Python v. Okay. So I don't know what the hell that was. I guess this shows the version of everything, but you can see that it's shown 312. All right, and and now we're in Python. Okay, so that's not exactly what we wanted. It's weird that it did that. I don't know what's going on. Clear. All right, Python. So we can do Python. I think it's -- version. All right, 312. So now we can do poetry. Env use Python. Perfect. Now we're using the virtual environment. We grab this. We'll go back to PyCharm. Now it's probably going to complain, that the project was gone. So we're going to remove it. Again, new project, pure Python, DSPy fun. In the dev folder, right, it shows us where it'll be created, custom environment. Okay, so this time, we'll do it again just so you guys can see it, right? Placed all we're now in DSPy fun. So it still has this here, but whatever, I don't care to delete it right now. Bin. Now, you see how it has all this stuff in it? It's because we did the install. So now we create from existing sources. Okay, now we'll wait till it turns on. Yeah. So actually we'll run it from here. Okay, cool. So we installed. So now let's see if we can run it by pyfun. Yep. See? So it has some default stuff. So now it comes with out of the box a typer CLI, right? Now figuring out how to set up typer and all that stuff, pain in the ass. So we're not going to do it. We're just going to use their stuff. So we're going to add a command. So we'll do app. And I'm going to actually turn off Copilot just because it's a little confusing, I think, for new people right now. So we're just going to turn it off. Restart. Okay. And you're going to see my typing skills. Command. So if we do DSPy fun help. Okay, so it's running the code. So you can see it's actually running the code, so there's saying there's a mistake. All right, cool. So now it acts a little differently. One of the pro tips about Typer is never just have like one command in it. It behaves differently than when there's multiple commands, and it's very rare that you're going to have a CLI with just one command. So we'll do, again, app.command. Interesting, this completion I think is now, it's like part of the IDE. So we do def, hello, message, hello world. Interesting, so it already comes with the thing. So we're going to do print message, right? There we go. So we will now run the file. So running the current file didn't do anything, which is fine. We'll go to DSPy help. So you see now we have commands, the hello command. Okay, we have our hello command, but it doesn't have any documentation. So we can do help, and we can say hello world command, right? There we go. So that's the help. So now we're printing out our thing. So now what we can do is let's create. Now one of the things about this is it's created an SRC folder with the DSPy fun as the package, right? So if we also have an API, which is a fast API, and we'll kind of touch on that in a second. But let's stick to, we're going to create a little module, right? So what I do is I have like a utils folder, right? And in it, I use the pattern of, we're going to create FS, we're going to create a new function Python file called FS tools, right? So the word I use, I have a utils folder, and then it's whatever it is, and then tools. That's the naming convention, right? And so the thing about the naming convention, by using this, is you could then, for instance, loop through all the packages, all the modules in the utils folder, and grab like a whole name of them, a whole bunch of them, and do something. So there's a reason why I name things in a specific way, particularly. All right, so cool. So in here, we can have import from OS, import, what do we got? What's a good one? Let's not just create random stuff. What we're going to do is we're going to go attach DSPyGen. We're going to actually attach DSPyGen so I can look at what I did, and I can just show you kind of what I did. Attach project. Because that's what somebody said to me, was that it was helpful to see how I do what I do, but then also I think it's helpful to hear my thought process. So we're just going to attach the DSPyGen project so that I'm not like making this stuff up from scratch. So you can see that this is actually what I do. So there's a utils folder, and in here I have file tools. So FS tools, I've decided that it's files tools. So we're going to just create this. So the one that I always go to, for instance, is the project directory. So yeah, so we're going to want to def project dir, and here I use, because I want it to be a path. So I'm not like anti-typing, because another thing is typing helps do the imports. So I did like a pull in the import automatically. It was option enter in Python. So I'm not like anti-typing. I'm just want to like have typing be there for a reason, right? So if you're going to want to do a comment in Python, you just do 3 double quotes, and you can say get the root folder. Okay, so it's interesting. So now the IDE itself has its own completion, but whatever, right? That's what it's going to be. Oh, you have to have a semicolon or a colon at the end. All right. So here's one of the things that's interesting about Python is that's good enough for it to be a valid function. So if we go to here, we go to this, I'm going to close this, we go to our CLI, and instead of print message, we just do project dir, and then I'm doing what? Import this name, and then, so you can see that it has DSPyGen, but it also has DSPy fun in it. Now it does this SRC stuff, because in PyCharm, you have to do this right-click thing and mark directory as a sources root, and then you have to mark this directory as a test root. Where is it? I just did it. There it is. Excuse me. As a test root. There it goes. All right, cool. So now if I do this again, now it's DSPy fun. Okay, so if I do this, and then I run the hello command, it's not going to break. So if we do print message again, just so that you can see that it works, this is completely acceptable as a placeholder for a directory. So sometimes what people do is instead of doing this, they'll just do pass. I don't like that, because if you're going to just leave it empty, you might as well leave a comment, right? So, and if it's a comment for something you don't know, it's like basic what it's going to be. So you just put that in there. Doesn't hurt. So now what we're going to do is learn a little bit about how. Well, first we're going to look on what this if main name thing means, right? Because you'll find this in most of my files. And what's cool about Python is as you're working in one file, you can create like a little test script that gets run every single time. So we'll start off with printing name, right? So this double squiggly line is they want you to have a name after it. Oh, you have to have this here and then this here. Okay, so it's like, what is name? So let's just do here. You can see how it printed the name. If we get rid of this, you see how it didn't do anything? Now, the reason why its name is this is because it's being run outside of this. So if we look at here and we print name, see DSPy. So it's going in terms of import order. So it's importing this before it imports this. So that's why you see this, the tools, then the CLI file, then hello world, right? So we're going to delete that, and then we're going to delete that, right? But let's just say we're working on seeing what this project directory thing does. So then we can do print one more time. We'll do name, but this time we're going to run this file. So you can run in PyCharm. I just right click and I'm doing run tools. Okay, so you see how when I run this file, it calls it main. That's what, and then if we run, so now what we're going to do is we'll say if name equals main, print name. What's up, Batman? We're doing basic Python for DSPyGen. Okay, so you can see how it's printing out the name. Oh yeah, if somebody wouldn't mind making like an announcement or something in the channel for me, like just saying like at here in the welcome or the show and tell that we're doing this, I'd appreciate it. Okay, so now we're working on the project directory, right? Because we want to be able to, from anywhere in the application, get the project directory in case we're messing with things. Messing with things. It's in case we're doing like directory work. All right, cool. So let's figure out what the path is. So print, and then we can just say path, right? What is that? And so we run it. Okay, pathlib, right? And then I think we can do dir and run it. Okay, so this is like all of the things that are in it, right? So we can also do, I think help is one of them. Yeah, maybe that's, yeah. Okay, perfect. So you can also get the help of the thing from the code. Now, what's also cool is, for instance, I could feed this to a language model or I could do other stuff with it, right? So another helpful one is path.dict, right? So let's see what its internal dictionary is. So this is the internal dictionary, right? But we can also do this one, vars. Okay, so it's a little bit different, right? Now, the question is, why am I showing this to you, this specifically? Because if you look at the structure, this means that it's a dictionary. What I want to do is do reflection. So let's just say I wanted to do something where every single time you have one of these, you print it. So let's just say now that we do for vars for var in vars print var, right? Let's see what happens. Okay, so here it printed out the key of every thing. So if we go, sorry, what?
There's a paper that just.
I can't. You're breaking in and out. Let me just do the tutorial. I'm not trying to do anything other than show off what I'm showing off. So what you can do is, let's try path and then brace var and see what happens. And we can do print.
I DM'd it to you.
Cool, perfect. Okay, path is not subscriptable. Okay, so that means that it's not. So, but if we do dict var, okay, so you see how now I have a reference to everything in here, right? Now I think I can do for key value. This probably won't work. Let's just give it a quick shot. So one of the things that you can do if you want to print things in a string, you can do this, right? So let's see if this works. Okay, too many values to unpack, expected 2. So I think it's enumerate is the correct one. Yeah. Okay. So here the key it gave us is the number, and then it gave us the actual key. So I don't remember which one is which, but it's not important. We're not going to be going further down that. But this is just to give you an idea of how to loop through. So now we're going to get kind of back to work. So now we're going to try and find the path directory. So we're going to do print, and then we're going to do path.cwd, current working directory. That's an interesting one. Let's see what we get. Okay, so we're now in our utils directory, right? But let's do this where we're going to print it here outside of the if statement, outside of our if statement, and run it. Okay, so do you see how it printed the current working directory? But in this case, the current working directory is here, right? So in reality, we can't use the current working directory. Does not mean the working directory of the file. It means the working directory of where it was executed from, right? So let's go back up to our file tools. So we have our project dir. All right, cool. So path.file. So let's look at file, right? File. Okay, so file gives us the exact place of the file. So now we have that, right? And so this gives it to us though as a string. So let's now try a path file, right? Okay, so it's echoing out as a string still, right? Now path is, but we can also do, now that we have the path, path.parent. Let's see what that is. Now we're in the utils folder, right? Then we got parent again. Now we're in this folder. So if we go 4 levels, parent, we now have the root directory of the project. So now I can call this project dir, once I make it, put it here, right? We'll take this, grab it, paste it, and return it. We can blank this out, and we can just print project dir, run it this way. There, we got it there. Go back to our terminal, and it doesn't do anything because we're not running it in the main anymore, right? So now we can go to here and say print project dir, and so there you go. Now it's colored. I don't know why. It's probably something, because the rich library changes the print. So that's why I was doing that. All right, cool. So now we have our project directory. We're going to do a Sean Chatman type thing, where what we're going to do is we're going to create a folder for the sub commands, right? Because we want to make it so that we can add a bunch of subcommands to our project and keep working that way. So we're going to create a folder called a new package. So it's it's not just a folder. When you do new Python package and we do subcommands, right? It's a package when it has this init in it, and you can also see in PyCharm when it has these little circles on it. So now another thing that you can do is you can put stuff in the init. So we can do print name here and go back to here, and it's not being referenced yet. So there's no this thing is not getting loaded, I don't think. Yeah, no, it's not getting loaded. Okay, so let's put a file in here. And so we're going to call it, the way I do it is I do sub CMD. Sub CMD. I know this is redundant, but again, anything that has this underscore command in it, I know is command. So it's like the subcommand for in those subcommands folders. So what we'll do is we will look at the typer, right? And so let's just real quick, I'm going to check how I did it in DSPy gen CLI. Okay, I'll load the commands. Just a second. Okay, yeah, load commands. Okay, so we're going to make our load commands function here. And so here we're going to do if name main, and then we're just going to say print name. And then if we're not else, then we're going to do load commands, which doesn't exist yet. So create function load commands. So you see how it does pass automatically, kind of the default. You could also do this, which also works. An ellipsis is actually a valid value, just so you guys know. So for instance, we can do print ellipsis. See, it's actually a type. And then I think it's, you can do type, or actually, sorry. We're just going to do this real quick, because this is something kind of that I found out is kind of weird, but see, the ellipsis class. And so then let's try this real quick. We're going to create an instance of the ellipse. Okay, so yeah, so there you go. A little weird, but you know, that's the way Python works. That's the thing I like about Python is it just lets you do weird stuff. Now, this is not what you'd want to do, but there are actually times where I've done get the type, create the instance of the type, move things around, right? You couldn't do that in a language like TypeScript without doing some crazy stuff. And people would say, oh no, the world's going to melt if you do stuff like that. Yeah, well, but if you know what you're doing and you can do cool stuff with it, it lets you do cool stuff, which is the kind of the point of life for me, is doing cool stuff. All right, so we're just going to look at this load commands. So so the directory, we don't need that string. So our script directory, and so actually let's make one that says SDR directory. So what we'll do is we'll go to our FS tools, and so we'll do def src dir, right? Return path. That's interesting. I've never done that before, so let's just see how that works. That's one of the things is like I like discovering stuff too. So okay, so that works, right? So then what's absolute do? No normalization or symlink resolution to get the canonical path. Okay, so then we can do absolute. I don't know. Maybe that's a best practice. Learn something new every day. All right, now we have our source directory, right? Another thing is actually that we're going to want to have our subcommands directory. Right? So you might think like, well, Sean, you're making a lot of these little functions. Yeah, well, but if ever a time comes in the future where I want to reference that folder for some reason, I already have it created, right? Path, that's not how you do it, but we can do parent dot, and I think it's slash subcommands. So let's see what that works. Perfect. Yeah, see, SRC, and that is not correct because it would not be in there, so. Perfect, yeah. DSPy, SRC, fun, subject. All right, cool. So we don't need to worry about this, right? Okay, so what we can do now, we'll go to our CLI, our load commands. So now we can just do src dir equals src dir. We do enter. Sorry. Okay, it's not importing it yet. Subcommand directory. That's what we need. Sorry. Okay, we imported it, so we'll just say command dir, right? And I like to shorten stuff because it's like we're just going to be referring to the command. So now what we can do is for file name in os.listdir command dir. So we're going to have to import os, import this name. So then now let's print file name. Okay, so command list dir. And so it didn't print, so I'm going to just put, print. Why not print that? Okay. Oh, we're running it in the main, so so that we'll just do that. So it was exactly working as expected. Okay, perfect. Cool. You see how it did subcommand and init py? So we only want things that end with .command, right? So here we go, ends with. So we do if file name ends with cmd.py, print the file name. Perfect. So now we can get rid of this. All right. So now we have, we're going to get the module name, which I'm just going to grab this line. I'm not going to type it out. Okay, so this is getting the module name. So directory is subcommands. We're just hard coding it because I did this because I was doing it in different places, but we'll just hard code it for here. So now instead of the file name, we'll do module name. Right? Okay, main, subcommands, subcommand. Now it's not going to be that case when we run it. This is just for right now. And so when we import, that's not going to work. So we're going to have to do it from the CLI. I was just showing that. So if what we're doing here, we're saying import the module here. So we'll grab this, import the module, and import this name, import lib, import module. If it has an attribute in the module called app, so we'll grab the app and it'll be our typer, and the name will be the file name -7. Okay, we'll figure out what that means in a second. So we got our module in. So we will, oh, you know what we'll do? We'll do, we'll do module.dict. Now it's going to fail because the name is incorrect. We want the name. So we're actually going to go back to here and run hello. Okay. So here we've got when we went to subcommands, we loaded the module. This is the dict of the module, right? DSPy fun subcommands, package, right? Loader, built-ins, right? Okay, we got all these different components of it. So if we look inside, copyright, which is interesting, right? Okay, so that is because we don't have anything in here. Sorry, we don't have anything in here, right? So what we're going to do is, and I'm going to look at the subcommands from DSPygen. Where is it? Subcommands. And we're going to look at subcommand. Or I call it command. All right, cool. So we've got typer this is DSPygen functional is a wrapper library I created around Jinja. So we're just gonna we're gonna just use Jinja regularly. So let's add that. Pip install 2. Okay, already in there. Perfect. So let's look at what's in here. So we have app typer, right? So app. So there it already knows it, right? Help to subcommand to generate subcommands. All right, cool. So that we have our app in there. And so we're not going to create anything yet. We'll just create the new command in here. App command. So the name is something you can give. So I'm going to call it new. I think the reason why is new. I don't want it to be a function name just because I think that would be confusing. So we just call it new. I also always like to try and figure out what's the shortest name I can give to something where it'll not be confusing. So command new. Why not? It's not gonna. Nobody's gonna look at this. So we're gonna see subcommand. We're gonna see cmd name and a string, and you do want to use types in typer because it helps with the code generation. So for instance, in typer, the These are also called annotations. And I use annotations in different cases. This is used in order to build other code off of it. So it's not just typed for the sake of typing. It's not typed for the sake of, oh, it's going to not work if it's like providing specific value. Therefore, I don't have a problem with it, right? So then we got new CMD name and str. All right. So, and then we're going to just say, new subcommand with the name, with the command name and subcommand. We'll call it new sub name. Or command, whatever. It doesn't matter because nobody's going to really be looking at this or confused if they're looking at it. All right, cool. So we got in here, script directory. I'm not going to type this out just because none of it is new. We're going to have to rewrite that, but we're just going to grab it. All right. Now here, because we have, and this is where the writing utilities helps, is instead of me now, whereas before I was doing like a reference of this file type thing, we can just go to our FS tools, pull it over here, and now we have the source directory, and we don't even have to worry about it. So we have it in here, so we can get rid of this. So we can just use wherever the script dir is being used. We can just replace it here, import it. So then here we have, actually we'll use the same name just because it's confusing. So we have subcommand name and new command name. There we go. Do not reinvent the wheel. Oops. And src. Okay, and so the render we don't have, we'll have to create. Okay, so in this case, I don't want to have to do f-string. I guess we'll just do a f-string. So, and what we'll do is we'll just do f, and we'll, is that how it works? No. All right, we'll just do Jinja. So what we'll do in this case is we'll just go add. We'll go to cursor. So I'll show you guys how I use cursor, for instance. Shout out to Batman for this one. Dev DSPy fun. Open. So what we're going to say is Shift O. We're going to say so it's interesting. It's using that render, even though that render function doesn't exist. I think it's looking at it from another piece of, or it's looking at the undo. But anyway, we're going to say source. We're going to say use Jinja to render the source. Perfect. And accept. There's the squiggly line 4. That's weird. Okay. So then, oh, am I in the, no, we're in the right project. Subcommand. Okay. So yeah, it's imported. I don't know why it's not imported. Okay, I don't know what that's about. Okay, so now we've got our subcommand to create new command. So let's now check our DSPy fun help. Okay, so fire and hello. So we don't have, oh, we have this still printing. So now we, oh, okay. So yeah, we now have a command to load. So we go back to our CLI. Now, if it has the attribute add the typer, right? So now if we look at here, it has the attribute app, and so we'll add it to typer. Okay, and then the file name, we'll just assume that that works. That's kind of weird. I don't know what file name -7 means in this case. So let's just print name. Now, how lists and strings and stuff work on Python, that's outside the scope of this tutorial. So, okay, so it did print not this. Oh, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's what it is we're grabbing. We could also do this. But this is like a simpler way because we know that it ends with that. We could also do file name dot split. And then we do underscore, and then we do 0. And let's see if that works. That also works. But so the thing about it is, that's the thing about Python to me, is like, I know that it's going to be this many characters. It's always going to be that many characters. So why not just do it this way versus having to do it this way, which is much more complicated. But people might say, oh, well, but this is more, whatever. I don't care. It's my world. We just do it the simple way, and then we move on with our lives. That's the way that I think about a lot of this stuff. That's the way I think about DSPy, that I don't think many people do, is it's like Seth Godin talks about. He says, good enough. What does that mean? Good enough. Meaning it's good, we move on. Not good to great to greatest. No. Good is, if what we're working on is not differentiating, then good enough and we move on is fine. So now let's look at all of our, there we go. Now we have our subcommand. Subcommand to generate subcommands. Perfect. So now we can do sub cmd help new, creates a subcommand with a command name. All right, so cool. So then we can do options command. So here we can just do subcommand hello world. Okay. Oh, this is the problem with only having one command in there. I just remembered. So we just do app command name list def command list then dot. Oh, new. We have to do new hello world. Okay. Hello module generated successfully. Okay, cool. So we didn't generate it in the right folder, but do you see now how this is executing? We now have a typer command, oops, that we didn't have to write, and so, but we need to fix the directory that it's going to. Source directory, we're not going to do sub command directory. We'll just do sub c commands. Already exists. Module path. Oh, okay. Module path. Okay, cool. There we go. Now we have the hello subcommand. We can delete this one. All right, cool. Now, let me just make sure that that whole statement I was making about one command was still factual. Okay, I was wrong. I must have been having some other problem. So it's okay to have one command in there. It works. All right, well, let's make it now that we can add a command to it. So we'll go grab from here how to add a command. So here we have template. We're going to just grab this here. Okay, so we're doing append. Actually, you know what? We're just going to skip this right now since we already got one in there. We're going to want to do DSPy stuff. So this is another thing, is that you can see that kind of in real time, I'm determining, actually, let me, shit. Okay, fix it. And this fixes it. All right, cool. So like in real time, I'm determining, like, this is enough, I think, for people to be able to learn a lot about Python from this side. So let's now make a DSPy command. Okay, so we will have a new command. Let's do, people always want to do, oh yeah, unstructured text to structured text, right? We're going to do we're going to turn stuff into JSON. I mean, from JSON into Pydantic. That's a good one that people always want. So I'm going to stop the video here. This will be part 1, and then we'll continue part 2.